And then we actually know how Peter Quill's secret siblings defeat Kang in Secret Wars. See what Screen Crush has to say about them. Check this out.
This is the greatest Christmas gift I could ever get.
Welcome back, Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special put a little bit of family drama in the MCU when Mantis revealed that she was one of Ego's children and Peter's long-lost sister.
Ego?
He is my father, too.
Now, we know from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 that Ego laid more pipe than a John Deere trencher, having relations with species from all over the universe.
I hope the result of such a coupling would be enough to power the expansion.
Now, most of those siblings died and became a pile of skulls in Ego's upper crust, but we can still logically assume that Peter has more siblings out there in the cosmos. So we think it's possible that more characters in the MCU can turn out to be Peter's half-siblings.
There is another.
And if this is the case, then Peter, Mantis, and their mysterious third sib could be the key to defeating Kang the Conqueror.
But how would we even know who his siblings are?
Excellent point, Doug. If Mantis hadn't flat out told us, we'd probably never have known that they were even related. But one thing we do know about Peter is his celestial connection, which gave him the ability to hold an Infinity Stone without dying.
And when I heard of a man from Earth who held an Infinity Stone in his hand without dying,
In Volume 2, we know that Peter was the only one of his children with the celestial gene, but we also know that Yondu stopped bringing Ego his children when he became attached to Peter. Peter's siblings would theoretically possess similar abilities. Heck, Mantis's powers might be because she is part celestial, and there are quite a few people in the MCU who have displayed either powers or a disposition to acquiring powers. So, let's go to candidate number 1, Monica Rambeau.
But Ego's already got an Earth kid. Impossible to have a second.
Well, Ego claimed that Meredith was the first person that made him feel love. That does not necessarily mean that she was his one and only paramour. In Guardians Volume 2, Ego confirms that he visited Terra 3 times, and on that final visit, he infected Meredith Quill with the brain tumor that cost her her life. Now, this leaves the activities of Ego's first and second visits open to some spicy speculation. According to the MCU timeline, Monica and Peter were both born in the early 1980s, meaning that Ego and Maria easily could have met before or amidst Ego's meeting with Meredith. Monica has been the only person to traverse Wanda's CMBR hex successfully, for reasons that have yet to be explained. Not only was she completely unharmed, but her body absorbed the energy to become a living conduit. Sounds a little celestial to me.
Oh, well, yeah, I can see that.
Honestly, there are a ton of characters who could possibly be related to Peter Quill, like the time-traveling god of mischief himself.
Cousin Cody from Step by Step?
No, Doug. Loki.
Right, Loki can't be Ego's kid. He's already got 2 dads.
Right, well, we know that Loki was adopted by Odin, and that he is the biological son of Laufey, the frost giant.
Laufey's son.
Now, we don't really know how frost giants reproduce, and we've only seen male frost giants in the MCU. Now, we know that there are some species in the MCU that can reproduce with the same gender.
When 2 Cronins want to make a baby, they get together inside a mountain. After a month, they pull their hands apart and they find they've created a beautiful new Cronin baby boy.
And that in Norse mythology, frost giants reproduce by breaking off a piece of themselves and breathing life into it. If Ego was attempting to breed with frost giants, he could have been a part of that creation ritual, making it entirely possible that Ego is Loki's second father.
My man's got daddy issues on top of daddy issues. That's the MCU for you.
Right? Plus, he has abilities that no other frost giant has. Supposedly, Loki was taught Asgardian magic by his mother Frigga. But what if she recognized Loki's celestial connection, so she taught him magic so he could hide his true origin of his powers? It's definitely Asgardian-like behavior, and maybe this could even be explored in Loki Season 2. And speaking of magic users, maybe Wanda is a potential Peter sibling. Now, this would actually explain how the Mind Stone amplified her powers. I know that we already saw her dad in WandaVision's flashbacks, but what if those are fake memories implanted by Hydra?
Now, just say what now?
So, alright, this theory is a lot of fun. We know from the Winter Soldier that Hydra is capable of implanting false memories, and giving Wanda false memories from birth would explain her fondness for escapism. The death of her parents led to Wanda submitting into the service of Hydra. Her parents' death is a very convenient motivator for her to let Hydra turn her into a weapon. And it certainly wouldn't be the first time that Hydra secretly killed someone's parents and made it look like an accident. So, is it possible that Hydra created her as a potential conduit for the Infinity Stones using celestial DNA?
But why did Hydra even know about Ego's seed?
Well, Doug, Hydra was part of S.H.I.E.L.D., and S.H.I.E.L.D. investigated extra-normal happenings. If Hydra found Ego's seed in the ground, they could have used it to engineer the first enhanced human with celestial DNA, which would explain why Wanda is so much younger than Peter. We also know that Hydra augmented her powers through exposure to the Mind Stone. The fact that it amplified her powers rather than taking over her mind, combined with the fact that she can destroy Infinity Stones herself, shows a strong resiliency to their power, just like Peter does. Wanda was exposed to an Infinity Stone and lived. That is actually the best evidence that she is part Celestial, because Peter is another Terran who had the same ability. Now, with the introduction of mutants into the MCU, there's a good chance that Wanda will end up being a mutant as well, true to her comic book roots. But even then, there's still a possibility that she is related to Quill. In the comics, the X gene was actually created by exposure to an ancient Celestial. And since the MCU likes to put their own spin on things, the X gene could be Ego's Celestial genetic signature. Plus, we all know how much the X-Men love a good retcon.
Wanda really does like to put her own twist on the X-Men.
I see what you did there. High five. Also, we don't know if Ego limited the spread of his genetic material to just one universe, and if he didn't, it's entirely possible that he visited the Utopian parallel, making America Chavez another potential option.
But we saw her parents in the Doctor Strange movie, in that super public memory projector gizmo.
Yes, correct, but in the comics, this whole backstory turns out to be a planted memory and was actually genetically engineered in a lab. This could easily be a plan orchestrated by Ego after his apparent death in Guardians 2. After all, he is a Celestial, and they can be pretty hard to kill. If Ego was able to hide in a different universe, then Peter and his friends wouldn't be able to stop him from fulfilling his original goal, and Chavez could be the key he created to do so. It would also explain why she's so much younger than Peter.
What about the Guardians, though? Anyone else on the team he could be related to?
Well, there's one potential option. Gamora.
Wait, Gamora's dad is Thanos.
No, Thanos was her adopted father. He has no biological relation and destroyed Gamora's homeworld along with her entire family. We've never even seen her biological father in the MCU. She's displayed a possible celestial connection as well. She's the first to grab Peter's hand while holding the Power Stone to help him stabilize its power. Now, we don't know if she could hold the stone by herself, but she shared at least 50% of it with Peter, which is more than anyone else on the team. On top of that, she's wielded Infinity Stones in the comics before, and her body has shown an astounding level of endurance to survive Thanos' experiments and enhancements, which could be evidence of a celestial heritage.
But wait a minute, if they're brother and sister, then that means...
Yeah, man, it's entirely possible that Star-Lord pulled a Luke Skywalker.
That's gonna be an awkward family dinner.
For real. Another potentially related crew member is Groot.
How'd you say right now?
Yes, as the only Flora Colossus in existence, there's a lot that we don't know about their reproduction. According to James Gunn, Baby Groot and the original Groot from Guardians 1 are not the same person, meaning that we've seen Groot reproduce asexually since the first movie. But when Ego left behind pieces of himself, they became plant-like life forms with roots extending deep into the ground.
Over thousands of years, I implanted thousands of extensions of myself on thousands of worlds.
And we also know that Groot has the ability to create plant matter from nothing, even in the most hostile environments. To do this, Groot would have to create cells that can rapidly reproduce, so the branches can extend, connecting him genetically to the plant life around him. If Groot visited just one planet with Ego's baby-making plants, a living planet's DNA could very well become a part of him. And Ego is one of the few exceptional beings that we've encountered in Marvel capable of spontaneous creation of matter. So the fact that Groot is able to do that with vegetation could definitely be a sign of celestial powers.
I'm a god.
Plus, if there is a way for a Flora Colossus to breed with another, then it isn't completely beyond the realm of possibility that a shape-shifting planet wouldn't first try to reproduce with literal plants.
Jeremy, I just think you're barking up the wrong tree there.
Okay, well, how about this one? This one's really good. Adam Warlock.
No, because the shiny, happy gold people made him. We saw him pop out of the machine.
I think I shall call him Adam.
Yes, Adam was made by the Sovereign in a birthing pod. We saw it with our own 2 eyes, and Ego was already dead when he emerged. I know, but the Sovereign are genetically engineered people with each citizen specifically designed for their own purpose in society. And if you're trying to create a god, you should probably build with, god parts, right? The immeasurable scale of Adam's powers frequently put him in the company of other celestials and gods. So, folding some celestial lineage into his story makes complete sense. The Sovereign were literally inside Ego's core at the end of Volume 2.
What is it, Gregor?
Hey, remember that Aisha chick?
Yeah, what? Oh, hell!
And Ego is pretty liberal with his genetic material throughout the galaxy. So look, getting his DNA would not be an issue. It is also possible that Peter wasn't even the only child of Ego to become a member of the Ravager crew. See, we also know that Ego sent Yondu to collect and return his offspring, but Yondu had a change of heart after he learned what was being done to them.
I'm very poppin', yo!
Taserface has been with Yondu's Ravager crew for a long time, so it's possible that he could be one of the first children secretly spared without celestial powers.
One ugly motherfucker.
But what was you saying about Kang and stopping Secret Wars and all that stuff?
Right, so this is what originally got us thinking about this theory. In our Guardians Holiday Special Breakdown video, we talked about how Mantis, being part celestial, could be very important to the coming phases of the MCU. So the multiverse saga is going to culminate in an event called Secret Wars. The most recent Secret Wars comic was about, long story short, multiple universes colliding through incursions.
Like we heard about in Doctor Strange.
Only that you had inadvertently triggered an incursion. You, our friend, had caused the annihilation of another universe.
Correct. When it got down to 2 universes, Dr. Doom remade reality into a single planet called Battleworld, and that is where Secret Wars took place. So it's likely that Kang is planning something similar. Much like his variant, He Who Remains, he will want to remake reality in his own image into something small that he can rule. This means that after Secret Wars is over with, someone is going to have to create a new universe. And that is where Peter, Mantis, and sibling number 3 come into this. We learned in the Eternals that the Celestials have the power to make suns and galaxies. So why not a new universe? We've made multiple Kang theory videos about how Kang could be using a machine made of vibranium to make himself into a kind of artificial celestial.
Yeah, because in the comics, the celestial armor is vibranium.
That's right, high five. Kang would become an artificial celestial, allowing him to remake the universe into Battleworld. So it would take another celestial to recreate the universe as it was. And this is our theory. In the comics, Mantis was known as the Celestial Madonna. Basically, she was destined to give birth to a celestial messiah. And, long story short, this made her a threat to Kang the Conqueror. So, what if Mantis and Peter and Mystery Sibling have to reactivate the brain fluid in nowhere, giving birth to a new Celestial? And this new Celestial would be able to remake the universe. The 3rd sibling is key to this, because remember, Peter no longer has celestial powers.
If you kill me, you'll be just like everybody else.
But he could still exist as kind of a conduit for celestial energy, just like he was able to hold an Infinity Stone. So, Mantis communicates with the brain fluid in nowhere, the power comes from Mystery Sibling number 3, Peter is the one who actually gets to remake the universe in a new image.
I'm gonna make some weird shit.
And this remade universe would be the setting for Phase 7 and beyond. It would feature mutants, maybe a recast Tony Stark, and whatever other changes that Kevin wants to make.
Sounds complicated, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so too. So, what do you guys think? Is Star-Lord related to any of these characters? Anyone else out there, possibly Peter's sibling, that we could have missed? Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.
Please subscribe, like this video, great night, and see you guys. Bye.